it's going. All right, I'm here with Mr. Curtis, and we did our post-observation conference together, so second video we've done together here. And this is primarily just to set up his individual professional development plan and go over your SMART goal for next year. So since it's the end of the school year, the SMART goal will be for the 2017-2018 school year, not for obviously the past stuff that we've done. So as a quick review, I guess some areas of strength that I saw in your observation I did was teaching standards 2B and 2D, which is using content knowledge, or excuse me, using knowledge of student development and making learning experiences meaningful, and choosing instructional strategies that are appropriate to your content area. So pretty easy to see that as you're asking questions to kids. You were doing kind of a review lesson on trig functions, I believe it was that day, which is something they'd had a little bit of knowledge of, and you were just tying into that previous knowledge. Standard 3, selecting strategies to engage all students in learning. So, I think pretty much every kid answered a question throughout the course of that lesson, which is pretty hard to do with 25, 26 kids in a classroom. And then standard 4E, connecting students' knowledge, life experiences, interests in instructional processes. You tied in some things about, using angles and triangles and construction, that kind of thing. So you tied some things in from outside the classroom to a topic that was in the classroom there. So the growth areas I had mentioned were standard 2C, relating information and ideas within and across content areas. And we talked about using a projectile possibly, relating that to physics. And then standard 7C, applying research knowledge and skills from professional development opportunities to improve practice, which would have to do with kind of our AIW and professional development area in there. So the SMART goal that Mr. Curtis wrote here was, again, for the following school year, at least twice per quarter, so it'd be up to 8 times per year, I guess. In the 2017-18 school year, students in advanced algebra 2 will perform activities which require them to use algebraic information to solve real-world scenario problems. The students will then present this information, how they solve them, to the class. So I think that's a good goal in terms of SMART goal is specific. It's measurable. You're doing it twice per quarter, or at least 8 times per year. It definitely relates to the Iowa teaching standards, and the biggest thing with the SMART goal, I guess, for teaching would be that it's going to impact student learning. It's going to make it more meaningful for them. It's going to change your instruction a little bit and make meaningful learning for them. So that's the most important thing to me on a SMART goal there. So I guess my questions here that I have for you, the first one would be, is there anything you would change about your SMART goal, or are there any concerns you have with this goal heading into next school year?
No, I think it's pretty manageable. Like you said, it's going to require me to change a little bit of how I pace and that. But I do think there'd be a real benefit to it as well. I think it'll make it more meaningful, and hopefully they can see some of the purpose to what we're learning, what we're doing in class.
Perfect. How does your goal relate to student needs and our building and district goals that we have set?
Student needs, I think, from an engagement standpoint, I think this will help tie in some of those kids that maybe don't see how they're going to use it, or that's something that's really important to them. One of the things building-wide is AIW, is we're an AIW school, and one of the components of AIW is value beyond school. And that's one area that's sometimes hard to score well on. And this is something that would address that and fit into that really well.
Definitely. It is tough to get that value beyond school, and you can't do it with every lesson, I don't think,
No.
but if you can pick, like you have 2 times per quarter that's going to really tie in, I think that helps the kids understand things better and see why they're going to use that information. A couple things here together. What will this look like in your classroom in terms of the kids doing these activities, and then what kind of formative assessments would you do to see if they're actually understanding the material from this?
I think I want to use a variety of methods to do that. I think sometimes getting them in front of their peers and being able to communicate, that's important, and that's something I think I should encourage and promote. But maybe using some multimedia too. Have them use technology with our one-to-one initiative, and have them, whether it's through iMovie or something like that, to display and show their findings that way as well, and give them a variety of ways to do it. Expose them to some different things, because some kids are going to gravitate towards some avenues of communication more than others.
Definitely. It's a good idea using the technology with it. That also is part of AIW, substantial conversation, that piece of it. So not only is it value beyond school, but things can be the conversation part as well, which obviously is not always easy to do, especially in math class. You guys have to do sometimes.
It can be hard, yeah.
What's kind of a timeline of steps of what you're going to do to reach this goal heading into next school year?
Well, I'm going to be here a lot this summer. I'm helping develop some of our online content, and I'll definitely be on the lookout for finding things that I can maybe incorporate through that. I've already got a couple things in mind through our conversations and some of our content where I'll start maybe from a pacing standpoint, earmarking a couple days where I can work that in and try to find the things that work best. Sometimes I find myself over the summer doing a project at home or something like that, and I can kind of see how it ties into. So hopefully a couple happen by accident, and I can figure out the rest.
Makes sense. Are there some other teachers that can help you, or PLC time? Can that be important next year?
Yeah, I teach this class alongside Mrs. Bell, and she's been doing this quite a while, and she has some good ideas, and bouncing it off my department would be good too, or having a resource like you or Mrs. Warner. From a science standpoint, if it could be cross-curricular, I think I've got enough people that I can work with to come up with a good plan.
What do you need from an administrative standpoint in terms of help there, or if anything at all?
From an administrative standpoint, maybe materials, but from a technology standpoint, we have more than adequate materials there, and with our PLC time, we do have some time built in. So at this time, I can't think of anything in particular I would need from an administrative standpoint.
Well, if there is something you need, we can definitely help. If we've had some teachers in the past that have gone in and have watched other teachers do a lesson, so if you ever want to go observe another teacher, we can find somebody to sub for you, and you can observe that lesson, whether it's a math classroom or a science classroom, whatever it is, or anything in there. So kind of go back over, I guess, you'll start developing some lessons this summer a little bit, at least have a few done maybe for the first part of the school year. As you do those, maybe we'll have you video maybe one of them so you can collect some data on how the lesson went. Maybe your PLC group can watch those videos and give some feedback on what you can do maybe differently, or what you're doing really well, I guess. Especially in AIW, I know we're filming some of our instruction, we can see how you're meeting, especially the value beyond school, like you mentioned. I think your goal ties very well into our teaching standards, along with our professional development for our district. So I think it's a good goal, it's an attainable goal. I look forward to seeing what kind of data we collect along the way and how the goal plays out. So if there's anything you need, again, from me or anybody else in the office, our staff can definitely help there. So, all right.
Thank
Touch
you.
base again next year and see where you're at after the first quarter next year.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.